This is the new Mystic 8 in all BAIEM from LETSHUOER, and it is one of the best vocal sets you can get right now. It has one of the best tonality and presentation when it comes to female vocals that I have heard so far. The overall sound is clean, balanced, and bright leaning. It's what the Brain Damage and the CANTOR wishes they could be, and basically it makes them irrelevant because the Mystic 8 just has the great technicalities like those, but it's just so much more natural and musical and much better in the overall tonality. For example, I didn't get a headache like I did with the CANTOR, nor was the treble artificial and sizzly like the Brain Damage, nor was the overall playback shrill and thin sounding like the Brain Damage. It just sounds very good and very natural, and it just feels like the music is talking to you. It's also not as clinical like the Meteors. It's fuller. It has that extra air and micro nuance that was kind of lacking on the Meteors. That was like one of the nitpicks, as well as like the over boosted 1-3K. And the vocals aren't shouty because the vocal gain is much tamer and it scales a lot better while being very beautiful in the vocals and super immersive. So basically what I'm trying to say is Moondrop, A Fool, and Dunu should be taking notes from LETSHUOER because the Mystic 8 is what a good balanced bright leaning IEM should sound like and not whatever the hell they were cooking up. When it comes to the technicalities, the Mystic 8 has a open sense of space, it has a good amount of air and treble extension, it's got that top of line separation, great resolution followed by a smooth and refined treble extension. Detail wise, the Mystic 8 sits around the Prestige LTD level, which is very good, with it being slightly better than the Diva, the Monarchs, and the Brain Damage, but most importantly, it's got that special sauce when it comes to the vocals. I would highly recommend listening to the Mystic 8 at around mid to mid-high volume since they do scale very well when it comes to ballads, indie, acoustic, like slower and less energetic tracks. The vocals really comes alive once you give it a little more volume. They have this like airy, clean, and pure tonality to it. It's slightly bright leaning because of the less low end shifting the focus more onto the treble, and it gives it that like sparkly, airy, like special sauce when it comes to the vocals. Now at mid volume, the vocals just sound more relaxed. They're not too forward, not too powerful. They're kind of just like chill, you know, it gives you that airiness when it comes to the K and the end notes. But again, I like it better when it's at around like 75, 80 dBs or so. It gives you that more immersion as the vocals are pushed up closer to your face, and you can hear like the details better without it like kind of hurting your ears. Now low end wise, the Mystic 8 is not a bassy set, but it's also not lean or thin. Like the sub bass is there when it needs to pop up. It's very tight, it's very fast in the attack and the decay. And again, the mid bass, lower mids is full. It's natural, it's not overly thick, it's not overly husky, it's well separated in its layering, so it just does the job very well in its low end without getting in the way. If your library has a lot of hip hop, R&B, EDM, maybe try something else like the Audio Origin, the Monarch Mark III's, Hype 10s, you know, something with more low end impact and slam, because the Mystic 8 is a vocal centric set and bassier sets are obviously going to work better. Even the Hype 4s, the T Pros are going to be better for hip hop and stuff over the Mystic 8s. I would also watch out for more energetic tracks that have a lot of treble energy like K-pop, J-pop, and even some rock tracks like Model, for example. It has a lot of cymbals and that track can sound too much past 65 dBs or so. Now this treble issue also happened on the CANTOR and the Brain Damage when it came to Model, but because the Mystic 8 is fuller and has less treble boost, it didn't give me a headache like the CANTOR, or it didn't make me go when it came to the timbre, and like it's just not artificial like the Brain Damage. So in that regards, it's better than Numb, but I wouldn't say it's ideal for those genres since the Mystic 8 does lack, you know, the extra low end to balance out the energy for K-pop, J-pop, and on those tracks, I did find myself reaching for the knob to turn it down. Now versus the ELYSIAN Diva, I think the Mystic 8 is just a better version of the Diva. The lower 1-3K allows the Mystic 8 to scale better since the Diva does have like more vocal energy, which does sound great at mid volume, but that does mean that the singers can be too forward sometimes, especially when you try to crank them up. The extra bit of lower mids on the Mystic 8 also allows the male vocals to sound fuller. It sounds more quote unquote correct. Whereas if you switch to the red and yellow configurations on the Diva, it just ends up being a bit too upper mids focused with a slight scoop in the lower mids. It sounds a little bit thin when it comes to male vocals, and since there's not enough low end, the focus is then shifted towards the vocals and the treble, which again can make the Diva come off as a bit lean, thin, and shouty in its red and yellow configuration switches. And with the blue switch, the Diva just feels less vocal centric and more V-shaped. But that doesn't mean the Divas are bad. They're still like one of the best when it comes to female vocals. but it's just that male vocal wise, the Mystic 8 is going to be much better. These also have better air and more treble extension, gives you a little bit more micro details. So basically the Mystic 8 is just a diva that scales better and it's fuller and a little more like detail and resolution, making it more immersive and the better buy in my opinion, especially since it's like $500 cheaper, and I don't know if you can still get the diva. So yeah. Now versus the OG oracles, the Mystic 8 in my opinion is the direct upgrade to the original oracles. It's not a huge gap in performance, but it is more refined, so a bit fuller when it comes to male vocals. It has a slight bump in the separation, the detail, and the air. They both scale decently well, and female vocals sound sweeter and more sparkly on the Mystic 8s. LETSHUOER is also using high quality Sonian and nose BAs in these, and the timbre is arguably just as natural as the ESCs on the oracles, but the main difference really just comes down to the tech and the tonality, with the Mystic 8 being a slightly more colored and sparklier version of the Oracle Mark 1s, which is great news to some people because some found the Oracle just to be, you know, too clean, a bit too balanced, whereas the Mystic 8 is a more dynamic and more like unique version of the original oracles. I would say these are also a good upgrade to the original MANGIRD Ts. It's got that similar clean and female focused sound signature when it comes to the vocals, but it's just smoother now, it's more detailed, it's airier in the staging. I wouldn't say it's as dynamic as the original Ts, but you know, overall for most people, I think the Mystic 8 would be like a good upgrade if you really like the original Ts. Now, compared to the RS5, which is one of the best vocal IEMs, the Mystic 8 scales better. It sounds sweeter when it comes to the female vocals. It's cleaner, it's sparklier, it's better for just female artists in general, and it's also more technical and more spacious when it comes to the staging. But that doesn't mean the RS5 has lost its spot, because when it comes to male vocals, the RS5 is still probably the best I've heard for male vocals. It's textured, it's full, but it's also extended, and you get that air and then, you know, final extension. These on the other hand is just cleaner, it's sparklier, and these are for more like mid to high volume, whereas the RS5 is a mid volume set. However, if you're looking for the most powerful, most extended, and more forward when it comes to vocal presentation, the RS5 still does the best. It feels like it's coming out from your soul. You hear the artist so well. So both are great. It just depends on what tonality and listening volume you like. On the other hand, if you want the maximum vocal scaling, so even better than the Mystic 8s when it comes to just cranking it up, then both the Yang, CARMEN, and the Volume S will do that better at the cost of your worse technical performance, worse female vocals, and not as airy, spacious, and like I guess ethereal sounding. But vocals aside, if you want a more all-rounder set that just works for every genre, you have the MONARCH Mark III still one of the best at $1,000. It's less airy than the Mystic 8, but it does have better bass texture, better bass impact, very good vocal sound, not as I would say vocal centric and sweet and ethereal like the Mystic 8s, and the MONARCH Mark IIIs would be better for pop, hip hop, and stuff like that, as well as the hype dance. Then for 2 times less, you also have the VOLARE, which is just as airy, arguably even smoother and more natural because of just how well the ESTs are implemented on the VOLARE. But it's just not as good when it comes to the vocals. It doesn't have that quote-unquote special sauce, and it's also slightly less detailed, but the VOLAREs are better as an all-rounder set. They just work better when it comes to pop and stuff like that. Then lastly, you also have the Prestige LTD, which is essentially just a V-shaped version of the Mystic 8s. If you want a more dynamic and fun sound, then the LTDs would be better for, like, you know, EDM, pop, K-pop, J-pop, even hip-hop. The LTD still gives you that airy treble extension from the ESTs, but you just get a little bit more bass now, and overall it's just a more dynamic sounding set, less vocal centric, but overall would be more fun and all-rounded. In conclusion, I highly recommend the Mystic 8 for vocals, for ballads, indie, slow rock, bands, stuff like that. It's better than the Divas and the original Oracles if you're looking for that type of like sweet, clean, and ethereal, airy, sparkly type of sound, and also has probably one of the best female vocals aside from maybe the Storm and the Condensa 12, which are both a lot more expensive. However, I do want to point out the cable and the case because they feel very cheap. Like, the cable feels like it's a $10 cable, and I'm literally missing the other half of the case. I don't know why they didn't just make it full metal. They give you like this black case, I don't know. But the accessory wise, it's not that good. Build does look nice. The fit is medium size. I would say it's gonna fit for most people. At $1,000, I would say the accessories is a bit of a miss. But aside from that, great release from LETSHUOER. These are definitely an endgame contender. One of the best female vocal sets that you can get right now. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see everyone in the next one.
Shout out to Rarik's cat, Dom Cute, Disc Called Scotus, B Urak, Mystic Spoon Attack, Walker Standard, User Patrick, Paulie J, Mr. Gorillas, Anton Risto, Gis Sang Young, Ed Dunlap, Christopher Jackson, Name, Henry Claudia, Son of a Horse, 777ZK, Ben Thompson, Obi, Treble Well Extended, Wizard, Frickalicious, Andrick, Ricardo, Tapas R, Chucko Norris, Oh Really, Contain Guava Juice Gains, Shuen Buck Lee, Nico, Igris, and Forever New. Thank you guys so much for the year.